Hey, how y'all doing? It's the guys behind the Next Man Up Sports Podcast. It's Shaka and my man Bobby G. And hopefully, as you guys are aware, September is Suicide Awareness Month. This is a time of the year that's very difficult for a lot of people with mental health issues. It's a time where people feel very alone, and a time that a lot of people are suffering in silence. I can speak from experience because I myself was diagnosed bipolar almost 18 years ago, and it's something that I didn't reveal to anybody, the first person actually being my man Bobby G, until about 5 years ago. I suffered for a long time without telling anybody, without really feeling like I could because of the stigmas and all of these stereotypes that are attached to people that have mental health issues. This is a very serious topic that I'm glad that we're starting to have a lot more discussions on, but I really hope that you guys reach out to people around you because you never know who's suffering in silence, who's really struggling. If they've been able to tell you that they do have a mental health issue, please take that seriously every single time that you hear from them, or every time that there's a cry for help. Do not take any of those lightly. These people do need help. Take it from us. It is a struggle. It is something that is very difficult. My man Bobby's been able to see the day in and day out of what it's like to have a mental health issue. So please take it seriously. If you have someone that you care for, someone that's a friend, that you feel is struggling, is a bit down, or you haven't heard from in a while, just please reach out to them. You never know. A phone call, a text message can literally save a life. So please take care of each other, take care of those that are around you, look out for them. This is a serious time and a serious topic, and we really hope that you guys can take just a moment of your time because it could mean the world to somebody else. Again, I speak from experience, and I just really hope that you guys love each other, take care of each other, and be kind to each other. We love y'all, and see y'all on the show.
All right, completely rhetorical. Which fighter do you think would be more likely to become world champion? Apollo Creed, Ivan Drago, or Mr. I can't remember his name in the movie.
Clubber Lang.
Clubber Lang. I'm going to leave Tommy Gunn out.
Okay.
Because he actually was a champion. But those three.
We're talking original Apollo Creed, not Apollo Creed
Original
Jr.
Apollo Creed.
It's Junior.
Carl Weathers.
He
took an L to the champ. He could have become champ. He took an L. So he's, even though in the second one,
I go Apollo Creed.
Oh?
Because Ivan Drago would only last like 5 matches before he'd be up for murder charges. There's only so many times you can kill somebody in a ring before it's going to be like a problem.
and he was on steroids.
No one's going to let you fight anymore. Ivan Drago would kill all of them. And Mr. T, Clubber Lang, one of the greatest villain names of all time. But nah, he wouldn't have. Right. Him and that fucking Mohawk wouldn't have done shit.
Apollo Creed. Think he'd have a good run, or would he just be like a couple of fights and then give it up?
Depends on if he could balance that pretty shit with like Ali did. He's too much of a pretty boy, and he loved being pretty. But Ali didn't get hit, so if he could keep that up, then he'd be a beast. He'd be like Roy Jones. So long as he didn't try to, it was already heavyweight, so I guess he can't change the division.
All right, people, welcome back to the Next Man Up Sports Podcast. I am half of the dynamic duo that is Bobby G and Shaka.
How y'all doing?
Episode 10.
Episode 10, finally.
Double digits.
I only kept saying it wrong for like 3 episodes, but now we're actually fucking here.
We're
actually into double digits, episode fucking 10.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for being here.
I gotta get a hype button, man.
Yeah, you do.
I'm gonna get a hype button.
Or just like a bell or something. You could probably just download an app on your phone and just put it.
All right. A few things to talk about this week. Obviously, we have our recap of the weekend, week 3 of the NFL. Got some
headlines.
Yeah, controversial NBA headlines. Thank you, San Francisco and New York.
Yep.
And Next Man Up of the Week award.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot on the plate. As you guys saw in the intro, September is
Suicide Awareness Month.
Yeah. So
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. If you know anybody going through anything, reach out. And it's not always a matter of waiting for them to reach out to you. And this is an issue we have as men, especially as men. Black men.
Especially as men, yeah.
It's like a macho thing to not share or, not talk or get into deep conversation. And I think we definitely need to get rid of that stigma and like throw bro code out the window. Like, we got to talk to each other more, and it's okay to check in. You and I check in with each other frequently, sometimes too infrequently, but yeah, man. Reach out to your homies, man. Talk to them. Just all it takes is a quick, simple, "How you doing?" And that can start a conversation.
And I couldn't agree more. It is a very serious thing, and it can't just be just something as simple as checking in with somebody. And for people that are suffering through mental health issues, to whatever degree, as I explained, I am as well. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And that's going to be the biggest thing. And that's where I hope that we can get away from that stigma. That's something that I suffered with my whole life. Yeah. Was like not feeling like I could ask for help. Right. Because you feel ashamed. Because society's made you feel ashamed. Right. And you feel like you can't talk about it. And especially as men, especially as black men, you feel like you're not allowed to cry. Right. So when you are suffering through depression, or you're suffering through deep anxiety, or suffering through these things, and you are feeling those emotions as you're allowed to as a human being, but then you suppress them because you don't feel like you can talk, please don't do that anymore. We need to stop doing that. We need to reach out when we're feeling those moments, when we're at those low points. We need to reach out. We need to be there for each other. Yeah, absolutely. And it's really a lot simpler than people think. Yeah. And you've been my boy for longer than I can remember now. And you were the first person that I openly admitted this to, because I had kept it a secret for 13 years before I met you. And you've seen the day-to-day of what it's like for someone like me and what I go through. And one of the things I've always been so appreciative of you about, that we're saying to you guys out there, is that you've always checked in. Once I let you know that I was suffering through this, you've always been great at having my back and caring. And that's something that we're hoping that we can perpetuate to other people around the world. Yeah. That it's okay to ask for help, and it's imperative that people be there to help. Yeah. It's you can't put the onus back on the person that's suffering. Right. I know that there's suicide hotlines out there, and there's therapists and people out there that can help. Yeah. And I know that's where we always try to direct people to, and I feel like that's so disingenuous, because that's putting all the responsibility back on the person that's suffering. That's putting all the responsibility back on the person that's the victim to fix themselves when they're asking for help. Instead of asking them to call a hotline, you be their hotline. You call them. You give them the outlet instead of them having to go and search. Because a lot of times, and again, this having known me and me going through it, it's like you don't feel in those moments like calling anybody. Right. Damn sure don't feel like calling a hotline or something. Yeah. Like, you need somebody that's like going to reach out to you. Right. So let's stop putting the onus on the people that are suffering to get their own help, and let's help them out. This is a very serious problem in the world, as we're seeing it with many major athletes finally feeling like they have the courage and the ability to step up and say something, to where we're starting to see that, like, no, this isn't just a niche thing. This is killing, I think every September is like 90,000 people die from suicide. Man, in this month alone. It's horrible. Wild. So it's like, it's something that we really need to take way more seriously. And then from a standpoint like mine, in trying to help, it's just like you said, like, be genuine. There are times that sometimes all it takes is an ear. Yeah. You don't have to have all the answers. Like my grandma used to say, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So you can listen more than you talk. Sometimes it's just that people just want to be heard. And you don't have to have all the answers. This is not TV. This is real life. People, like, don't try and have all the answers. I've told you many a times, dude, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. But the one thing I won't do is bullshit you through it, because people can see right through that. Yeah. It's just be honest, be open on both ends of the conversation. Like, just listen and be honest. That's all you can do. And just be there, because that's been a big thing for me too. In so many of those occasions when I've been, going through a really bad swing, especially with my depression, and I've had those really dark thoughts. And talking to you was like, again, that you would just listen, not that you had an answer, or even that you were trying to direct me, because half the time I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. I was going in 1,000 different, there's 1,000 different threads going on in my head when you're like that. And you just allowed me to kind of explore each one, and that can be therapeutic for somebody. Yeah. So, I mean, however it works for people, but the main thing is that we're saying to you people is reach out. Please. Yes. Please reach out to people. Absolutely. You have no idea, like, the happiest person that you know could quietly be dying inside. Yeah. And that was the curse of me for all of my life. Nobody knew how much what I was dealing with or the numerous attempts I've made. Right. Nobody knew because I kept everything to myself. So both sides of that coin, please, people, if you're suffering, please reach out for help. And people that are the recipients of that request, please, from the bottom of my heart, you will save a life. Just answer the call. Absolutely. You don't have to have the answers, but answer the call.
And with that being said, that was good. Proud of you, bro.
The next man of the week. I appreciate it. Yeah, let's go. NFL stuff. Because we had a wild week of football. We did. It was, man, oh man. I don't even know where to start with all this shit. So we're gonna start.
I know where to start.
We're gonna start right now. We're gonna get this lively again. We're gonna get it up and popping. We're gonna start with your Next Man Up award for week 3.
My Next Man Up of the week.
Because there's a bunch of like candidates on my side.
There's a lot of candidates, but I have one in particular, and it's gonna stun some people because it actually comes from the game that I want to get into first. I know it's not first on the list, but I think it needs to be first.
We'll talk about it first, huh?
Not because I'm a homer, but my Next Man Up of the week is Justin Fields.
Justin Fields?
Yes.
Wait, he had a terrible game.
But you know what he did? He finished the game and he walked off the field on his own accord. Oh, so you give him an award I'm not being facetious. That I've never. That may have. Like, that is the second most brutal game I've seen on a quarterback in my life.
Yeah, he got hit on 60% of his dropbacks. Yeah. By comparison, Tom Brady got wrecked by the LA Rams, quote unquote wrecked, because he got hit on 24%. Right. And that's up from his usual 17%. For context for people, Tom Brady only gets hit on average 17% of his dropbacks. Right. This kid got hit 60. Yeah.
And finished the game. Took it like a champ. Press conference. He didn't throw anybody under the bus, even though he had every single right to. He took it like a pro. And yeah, so he even though he got a huge welcome to the NFL, he's my Next Man Up of the week, because that I'd have been Nino Brown on there. If I'm going to jail, I'm taking a whole lot of y'all with me.
Yeah, that game was brutal, man. So I'm kind of stuck. Damn it! I was hoping that you were going to take one of my options. So I got like 3. It's like a 3-way tie. I'll say what the other 2 are, but I'll just be definitive on the one I'm going to. Okay. I'm gonna have to pick one. I'm not gonna be one of the people, but I'll say my honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is the Cleveland Browns defense. Okay. Because, God damn it.
Yeah, they put on a show.
You only allowed 47 fucking yards. 47 yards all game. 1 passing yard. Yeah. 1 fucking passing yard. Justin Fields threw 68, but got sacked for 67 yards and 9 sacks. Yeah. Along with that 60% hit on drop. The Browns defense, that was, as you said, brutal. That's the perfect word. That was brutal. So they're an honorable mention for me. Damn it. The other honorable mention, people can say what they want to fucking say. The Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos defense. I told y'all as a fantasy pick, y'all should take them. And, we shut out the Jets. I know it's not a big team or whatever else. People can say what they want to say, but it was shutout's a shutout, a win's a win. We did what we were supposed to do. I said it's an honorable mention.
No, I was going to ask it. Do you want to switch up your surprise team of the season?
Oh, away from the Jets? Fuck yeah. Yeah, it's not going to be the Jets. That was a mistake. My bad. Oops. I'm a man. I can admit when I had a wrong call. God, fuck me. That was so bad. That's like the worst. That is the worst fucking pick I've ever had in sports in my life. I could not have been more fucking wrong about the Jets. Like top to fucking bottom. I know, like, what the hell high was I when I was looking? Because I was looking at this and I'm like, oh, I found a gem. I felt like fucking, was it Gollum or Schmeagol? I was like, my precious, I found one. I found a jewel. And no, they were just terrible.
Wrong.
Just terrible.
Wrong.
So my next man up of the week award has to go to the greatest kicker of all time, Justin Tucker. Yeah, I mean, he's already Mr. Automatic, but then this motherfucker hits a 66-yarder
with the hop step
to win the game. With the hop step. With the fucking hop step. To win the game. Not just that he smacked it, you know, like it was going into halftime, like the other team tried and it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, when the Jags returned it, that was my other guy. It was the 109 return.
Oh, yeah.
It was not like that where like, oh, it's at the end of halftime. It was like, no, this is to win the fucking game.
Yeah.
Like, and shout out Lamar Jackson converting a 4th and 19.
Oh, yeah.
To
Crucial.
put him in range. Apparently 66 yards now is in range.
Yeah.
What the? So Justin Tucker's my next man up of the week award winner, because that's a hell of a kick.
Yeah.
God, there's nothing you can say about that. I don't know if it'll ever be touched. Because
that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough.
I think
that's gonna
the only
stay
person
for a while.
Yeah, you'll only have a chance at that, and you know this is not me being a homer. The only way you'll have a chance at that is if you get one in Denver. Because that's the only place that has thin enough air that I think you could try to match that shit.
Or if you're in a dome. He was indoors.
Yeah. So maybe there's some possibilities, but I don't see it happen.
But yeah, I would
unless
agree.
we get, and this is going to be the second reference, unless we get Kickalicious back. Bring back Kickalicious.
I don't even think Kickalicious got that.
Kickalicious got it all.
Think
Kickalicious got it all. That's a throwback. So that's a callback to a previous episode. People go watch Kickalicious. That's all you need to know. All right, so we already covered, obviously, Carolina, Houston. So let's get into, you said you wanted to be the first one of the week. Let's talk about the Browns and Bears more. Yeah, or did you touch on all the points? Because, I mean, there's a hell of a lot more than just them beating the shit out of that kid.
Let's talk about Matt Nagy.
He needs to be fired.
Yeah.
He should have been fired last week.
A lot of the talking heads are saying the same thing, and it's the more you watch, and I'm not a huge fan of Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah.
But I couldn't disagree with anything he was saying. And he's showing clips where you have a mobile QB and you literally just drop him straight back 30 times against Myles Garrett. I'm not going to name everybody else. Myles Garrett.
Yeah. Against a great defense.
Yeah, who just got broke off over $100 million. He's the highest paid defender in the NFL now.
Yeah.
It's not like he didn't earn that money.
Right.
You know who he is. Mm-hmm. And you're just going to let your future franchise QB drop straight back 30 times. And your starting left tackle is like 38 years old, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you doing?
He's doing the same shit the Jets did. He's doing the same shit the Jets did. And that was one of the comments I was going to make why I had my Broncos as an honorable mention for the next man up. Was that shit too. Is this, if you look at the Denver game, what do they have? Rookie head coach, and Robert
But that's what Matt Nagy's not a rookie head coach.
Well, I know, but I'm touche to that point. But it was the same thing. Zach Wilson got his ass handed to him. I think we had 4 sacks. He got hit again, at a very high rate, on a lot of his dropbacks. Right. He was smacking that kid. Why? They were making the same mistake. Zach Wilson is not as mobile as Justin Fields,
right?
But's mobile, and you have Von Miller, and you just keep dropping Zach Wilson in the dropbacks against Von Miller, like what you're saying. You're dropping Justin Fields back against Myles Garrett. That's a problem. Both of those situations are problems, and what happened? They were both problems.
Here's what upsets me more, though.
Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett isn't coming off of an injury. He's still fresh. He's fresher than Von. Mind you, Von Miller looks great. But this is for context, people. Von Miller looks like the old Von Miller. He looks fantastic right now. He has 4 sacks through 3 games. Myles Garrett had 4.5 sacks games on fucking Sunday. 4.5 sacks on just Sunday. Von Miller looks like a beast again. He had 4 sacks total. Your guy had 4.5 on one day because y'all kept dropping Justin Fields back. It was so bad.
Here's what makes me upset, though.
It's so bad. His coaching is so fucking bad.
This is what makes me upset. You have you have every team has a practice squad.
Right.
The Chicago Bears have someone on their team named Khalil Mack. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Khalil Mack.
Just a little bit.
I'm not going to use a practice player to simulate Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have my tackles go against Khalil Mack at least for 1 day of practice. Like, this is what you're facing. Because you have someone who is actually the equivalent of who they're going against. They should have been prepared.
Yeah.
Because just
no excuse.
Yeah, just like they had. On the flip side, Baker Mayfield did not get terrorized. He got sacked. We gave up 6 sacks. But it didn't look like his game didn't look like Justin Fields' game.
Right.
At all. Because we were prepared. Because we probably threw Myles Garrett or at worst Jadeveon Clowney over there. Hey, run a couple plays at him. Especially because we only have a second-year player at left tackle who was on a bad ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked like he was on a bad ankle. He got blown by a few times. And we all know Khalil Mack can, like, lift up 400-pound men with one hand.
Right.
Tristan Wirfs, sorry.
Weight room.
Yeah. But it's like you cannot be that unprepared going into a football game. And I'll take a point that I'm trying to think who said it. I think it's Orlovsky again. Sunday was 149 days to the day that you drafted Justin Fields. 149 days that you had to come up with a game plan for him because he's the future of your franchise. And that game plan.
That can't be it. That can't fucking be it. That can't be it. If that's your fucking game plan,
it cannot.
Justin Fields needs to retire. If that's your game plan, that can't be it.
Yeah. So it's. That's the worst NFL coaching job I've ever seen.
That's why I'm shocked. I'm shocked I've been checking yesterday and checking this morning. I can't believe this motherfucker still does his job. Excuse my language, but it's like you can't do that to your rookie potential franchise quarterback and still keep your job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As I was saying to you after we watched that game, I was like, bro, I swear to God, if I was the owner of the Bears, I'd be in the fucking tunnel.
Yeah.
And I'd holler at Matt Nagy like, nah. Like, I'd cut him off in the tunnel as everybody else running back to the locker room. Like, nah, you don't need to go in there. You're done. You can go ahead. You got a cab waiting for you outside.
Yeah.
They'll take you to the airport. Oh, you flying home on your dime. You don't get back on that fucking plane. You are no longer a part of this organization.
Yeah.
If that's what one fucking passing yard, 9 sacks on my future quarterback. You know how much money I just spent on him? A hell of a lot more than I spent on you. So you can take that cab to the airport and get the fuck up out of here. Like, that'd have been me. There's no way that Matt Nagy would still have a job today. There's no way.
And I want to say,
and not after the bullshit performance he had, the week before. Like, no, there's no way. There's no way you're keeping your job.
I want to say I think Justin Fields had 1 passing attempt in the first quarter and a half, because the rest were sacks.
There's nothing you could do. You only got off 20 in the first place. So anyway, going away from the massacre that was the Browns versus the Bears game, we'll go to the massacre that also was the Buffalo Bills versus the Washington football team, where the Bills beat the shit out of them 43-21. And the 21 was a generous 21, so to speak, because that game was not close. That defense looks terrifying.
In the second quarter, watched the football team. They made it. It was like, okay, yeah. But then, Buffalo. Josh
Allen,
they're just better.
Josh Allen woke up.
Yeah, he finally had
a bad week 1. So I was telling people, don't overreact to week 1. Josh Allen woke the hell up.
Yeah.
358, 4 touchdowns. It's a beast.
That was an impressive performance against a very solid defense, but again, like we stated before,
it was a defense that was supposed to be the top 5.
Yeah.
And he made them look bottom 5. Yeah. Like, he was torching them.
Washington's just stuck in them and the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the same position. It's like both defenses are solid, but you're often like, what can you do when you're constantly on the field?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to wear out, you're going to wear down, you're going to get tired. And these offenses today are too good.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just in a tough spot.
Yeah. So so obviously we both believe that the Bills are going to be one of the top teams in the NFL. I don't think either one of us really gave a shit about their week 1 loss.
That was a week 1 loss.
Yeah, it just looked like a fluke.
Yeah.
And they've shown it. I mean, They've put up 78 points in 2 weeks. Mind you, they put up 78 points and only given up 21 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
78-21 after week 1. Like, oh, y'all fucking thought. Or no, y'all thought 35-43, 78. I'm sorry. Don't let me question myself. 78-21. Like, are you out of your mind? So we know that the Bills they're gonna be doing what they look beyond back on track.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Washington? I mean, again, they're in the NFC East, which is always a kind of a toss-up division.
Yeah, so they have a chance.
Yeah. So do you think that this loss will impact them negatively, or like do you like what do you think that this? Let me instead of asking like a yes and like, what do you think this loss does to Washington? In general.
Long term, I don't think it does anything. Again, they're not. To me, they were never competing for a playoff spot per se. Like they're not competing for a wild card spot. Only way you're getting in is to win the division. So you're not too far from that.
Right.
However, and we'll talk about it more later, the Cowboys look like they're back to playing decent football.
Yeah.
And if they are, then that causes a problem.
Yeah.
Because we could finally have a double-digit win team in the NFC East.
Finally.
For the first time in 3 years.
If the Cowboys, we'll talk about the Cowboys when we get to that game. For me, I think that with Washington, along those same lines, I'm like, you're in a division that should be easy to win, but you have to look over and see that Dallas is like taking care of their shit. Like they do look a lot better. They look, again, I feel like it's an overreaction to talk too much about Dallas until a halfway point in the season.
Fair.
Because I'm so tired of that story. I'm so tired. Like it's like the same like bad rom-com. Yeah. You just know it's gonna end terribly. It's just like, come on. They
need that. I think Dallas's win last night was worse for Washington than this loss because they were expected to lose. However, but this is what you got coming next. You got Falcons, Saints, Chiefs, Packers, Broncos, Buccaneers. If you're the Washington football team, your next 2 games are must win.
Yeah, against Falcons and Saints.
Yeah, because there are 2 winnable games, and they are must win. You cannot come out of your next 6 games 1-5 or worse. The worst you can come out is 2-4. Absolute worst.
And that's definitely what it looks like it could be.
Right, because that will put you're 1-2 now, so that will put you at 3-6, with a chance at the end of the season to obviously take your division games. You play the Cowboys twice, you play the Eagles twice, you play the Giants once. You got the Panthers. It gives you a chance to kind of just make a last ditch run at the division. But you got to win these next 2 games.
Yeah, and one of them is going to be a lot tougher than people probably would have, myself included, with the Saints. I mean, you got the Falcons up next. You have to win that game against the Falcons. Yeah. Then you got the Saints who are like, again, I'll stand corrected. I'm that, me, I'm always that type of person. Like, if I'm wrong about some shit, I'll admit it. I was wrong. I'm wrong so far about the New Orleans Saints.
Well, they're the same kind of team.
Yeah.
And even preseason, I told you that the Saints' defense is legit.
Yeah, I mean, they still have Cam Jordan. They still have, yeah.
Their issue was not having Drew Brees and not having Michael Thomas. And their offense has been sluggish so far this season. So that's a very winnable game for them, but you got to win it.
You have to win it.
You have to.
So going on to the next matchup, we got the Baltimore Ravens in what we both thought was going to be a bye week for them after, them beating the Chiefs. Then they go and play the Detroit Lions. We thought that was going to be a runaway game. I remember I had it called like double-digit victory. And for it to come down to a 66-yard NFL record field goal after a 4th and 19, there wasn't a person on the planet, I think, that thought that the game would end that way or that the Lions would even be in that position. Because if you're Detroit, you have to feel like you won the game. You're lining up for a 66-yarder. You have to believe as Detroit that you won the game.
Yeah. Shout out to Detroit because, again, this is another team that could have packed it in.
Yeah.
And they came to play.
Yeah, it's like they look like a tough 0-3.
Yeah.
They don't look like they want to rebuild, and I'll give them credit for that. They don't look Maybe they heard us. Maybe they've been listening to the podcast too, and they're tired of us calling them the fucking bye week game. And they're like, "Oh, you want to see we'll show you a bye week.
Gotcha.
You're gonna have to hit that 66-yarder. This bye week is a loss. How you lose on a bye week?" So maybe the Lions are, maybe they should try for something. I mean, who knows? I think if they lose another game, they'll probably just pack it in for the season. But I think they might try to win. You know what I mean? Yeah, they got the Bears up next, and the Bears look trash. So they could win that game, and they can make a run for it. I mean, because even at that, you got to think they're in the NFC North with obviously the Bears, them, the Packers, and
the Vikings, who finally woke up.
Yeah, so you got the Vikings at 2-1, the Packers the Vikings are 1-2. Yeah, Vikings are 1. I'm sorry, the Packers are 2-1.
There you go.
The Vikings are 1-2. The Bears are 1-2. You're 0-3, so you're realistically only 2 games out of first.
Yeah, but
you're 1 game away from being in the conversation. So it's like if they win against the Bears next week, which is a division rival, that flips their spot.
Yeah.
Now you're moving up the ladder. So I think the Lions might. I mean, again, just from how they look, I don't think that they have the talent, but they showed a lot of heart.
Yeah,
they showed a ton of heart, and you can't teach heart.
Facts.
And when you're an 0-2 team that everybody expects to go 0-16, and your franchise has done that a few times, so it's not even like your fan base doesn't expect it.
Yeah,
they've gone through it before. They're like, whatever. So, but they got that heart. They wanted to knock off a giant, and they should have. They should have.
Literally.
The Ravens stole a game. Justin Tucker stole them a game because they should have lost that game. Whether it was the 4th and 19 or even converting that.
The missed false start.
Yeah, the delay of game. Yeah, even at that.
There you go. Delay game.
Even at that. Even with the delay of game, it's like, fuck you. You're kicking a 66-yarder. The longest in history is 2 yards shorter and it was in Denver. Like, where the air is super thin and it carries like
right.
I'm good. As a coach, I'd be like, I'm fucking good. So, yeah, shout out to the Ravens for stealing the game. Yeah. And that's why, again, Justin Tucker was my next man up. Like, yeah, he stole him a game.
You don't think kickers are important until they pull something off like that.
Right. I just don't think. I think we should do away with point after attempts. I
don't know. I liked it since they moved it back.
I like the XFL shit. I really do. I prefer the XFL model. I'm not even saying that as a joke. If you want 1 point, it's from you start at the 3-yard line or something like that. If you want 2 points, you start at the 5 or 6. Yeah. And then if you wanted a 3-point conversion, you start at the 10. That shit's dope to me. I remember seeing that before the pandemic happened. I was watching one of the XFL games. I'm like, can the NFL please? I'm tired of seeing these point extra tries. Keep the field goal kickers. I still like field goals because, again, we had gems like last night. Those are crucial.
Right.
We don't need PATs. That's even why they try backing them up because they're so obsolete. We were hitting them at a 99% or 98%, which is why they backed up.
Yeah.
And even at that, it's still 94%. I know there was a missed one yesterday. Mason Crosby, I think it was. Or no, not Mason Crosby, because that's for the Packers. It was earlier in the day. Anyway, I'd love to see them go to the XFL model, the 1 point, 2 point, 3 point conversion from just different ranges.
I mean, the NFL
definitely make it more interesting.
The NFL did steal a lot of stuff from the XFL anyway.
Steal that one next. So going into a game that another team thought they were going to be able to steal, it looked that way at halftime. And it was the Arizona versus Jacksonville game.
Okay.
Again, it was a game that we both picked for Arizona. We both thought it was going to be a runaway. Ended up being.
Yeah,
you thought it'd be close.
I thought it'd be
a trap game.
A good game. Because I picked Arizona to win, obviously.
Yeah.
But I just thought preparation-wise, this was going to be the easiest we could prep for Urban Meyer. Because Arizona runs a college-based system.
Yeah.
He's used to that. And it was a tough play game.
Yeah, it was. It was in the first half.
Yeah.
It definitely was in the first half. Obviously, Jacksonville was, I think, leading at halftime.
Yeah.
They had caused some turnovers. They were disrupting Kyler Murray. He did not look comfortable in the first half. And then they woke up. I had it called. I was actually short. I had it 38-17. Finished 31-17. So holla at me. I was definitely more writer, motherfucker. Way more writer.
19.
What?
31-19.
31-19. Oops. Whatever. Still way more writer. Still double digits. Still holla at me. Anyway, what'd you think about the game though? What did you think about Kyler Murray? I mean, do you think that there's anything to talk about when it comes to the Jags? Do you think it was just like a kind of a fluke game?
No, the Jags are the second most rebuilding team in the NFL, so I don't expect them to have a good season. They'll be in competition for the number 1 overall pick again. Hopefully for them, an amazing defender is available.
Yeah.
Or we'll see what quarterbacks step up, because there'll be a trade market for that pick, and they can really start to build. But as far as the game, my thing is just I'm not 100% sold on Kyler Murray. Or the Cardinals in general. I mean, the week 1 win was a solid win, but it was a week 1 win. If they play Tennessee 7 weeks from now, do I think they treat them like that? Absolutely not. Do I think they win the game? Probably not. Even in this game, Kyler Murray, his touchdown streak is over. He didn't throw a touchdown pass. But the running game pretty much got shut and held in check. I mean, he had 91 rushing yards as a team, but nobody, the read option was pretty ineffective. Again, Urban Meyer's used to seeing this, used to defending it. So he had them guys pretty well prepped. They just don't have They just didn't have talent. Like, this is what they came down to. At the end of the day, Arizona was the more talented team.
Yeah. So I'm along the same. I'm in the same boat with you when it comes to like the Arizona Cardinals. As far as like a 3-0 team, I'm not sold on them yet. Yeah. Primarily for me, it's just Kyler Murray. I'm not sold on Kyler Murray being able to like go up against stiffer competition and consistently win.
Right.
I'm not saying that he can't. I'm just not fucking sold on it yet.
Right.
To where like, and it's the same thing. I'll give the same caveat for another 3-0 team with the Broncos. Like, I have my own opinions, obviously, like as a fan. Right. Like, I get people's reservations on, they're 3-0, but like the teams they played are 0-9. It's like, well, 1, we play who's in front of us. And 2, it's a matter of how do you look against those teams.
Right.
Like with us, like people can say whatever they got to say about rightfully so, about the Jags, the Jets, and the Giants. Rightfully so. But what did we do against those teams? Shut them down like a good team is supposed to. Yeah. Because what would and this is where it was driving me nuts. I'm not getting away from it, but if the Chiefs had like put them in our spot with that same schedule, all anybody's gonna be talking about is that they look like they can go 17-0. The Chiefs are the Super Bowl favorites. Look at how much they shut down these teams and they dominated, blah blah.
Right.
But because it would be the Chiefs.
Right.
I get that they've earned that because they've gone to the Super Bowl twice. They've won one recently. I get that they've earned that, but it doesn't change the fact that you play who's in front of you. When I look at the Cardinals, I'm like, you're playing teams, and I'm like, the Jags, you should have had a better showing. Like, in my opinion, like, you should have played better against these teams to where they're 3-0. And again, I'm going all over the place, my bad. But just thinking of the 3-0 teams, this is the first one that we're talking about. You look at the Raiders. The Raiders, to me, are an impressive 3-0 team.
Yeah, I can give them that.
Because they beat solid teams. The Ravens are, again, a good team. The Steelers, I don't think are a good team, but they have a great defense. And Derek Carr went to town on that defense.
In Pittsburgh.
And then the Dolphins game, like, yeah, they almost gave that bitch away at the end. But they came back from it. Like, they were down 14-0.
Yeah.
So, again, and the Dolphins are a team that were, a playoff team, or in the playoffs picture last year. So it's like the Raiders are beating good teams. Like, yeah, they're tough games, but they're beating tough teams. The Broncos beat 3 teams that weren't expected to be close games, and we made sure they fucking weren't.
Right.
Like, we did exactly what you would expect for us to do against teams like that. The Cardinals, they haven't hit either of those, tiers for me. Like, they're not beating really tough teams in tough games that people aren't expecting them to win. Like, nobody expected the Raiders to beat the Ravens or the Steelers. So it's like, not like you're beating teams that are unexpected to beat, but then you're not handling these motherfuckers either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
The Raiders are beating teams they're not supposed to, and the Broncos are beating teams we're supposed to, but handling them. I'm like, you're not doing either.
Right. So I'm like, say, with the exception of Tennessee, but again, that's week 1.
That's week 1, yeah. So I'm like, that's where I look at the Cardinals as a 3-0 team, and the jury's still out for me. When it comes to the other 3 teams that are still left, the Rams, it's like, yeah, that's a fucking 3-0 team. The Raiders, that's a fucking 3-0 team. Like, and the Broncos, I was like, that's a 3-0 team. Because, again, what did they do? The Rams being dominant especially on offense. I have questions about their defense. We'll get to that. But they're dominating. Raiders, again, beating tough teams and us dominating on defense like we're supposed to. The Cardinals, I don't know. I don't know yet. And we'll get into when we get into the week 4 predictions. Yeah. I don't know.
They got an interesting stretch coming up too.
Yeah. So moving on from them to a big game, big game, a shocking game, the Chargers versus the Chiefs.
That was.
I know that we both got that. I don't think anybody had the Chargers coming out. But what did I tell you though? What did I fucking say in the prediction? It was one of those games where I'm like, and I had it close. I had it as a 4-point game. I was like, it's gonna be 35-31 Chiefs. But I told you, I'm like, I hope the Chargers win the game. Remember I said that because I'm like, if the Chargers win the game, I'd have a great fucking day if the Broncos won. Because then that puts us 2 games up on the Chiefs.
Yeah. But
I wanted the Raiders to lose, so we could have been 2 games up on the Chiefs and 1 up on the Raiders, but fuck it. Like, I'd rather be in a race with the Raiders at the end of the season, I was saying before, instead of a race with the Chiefs.
Right, and say it does you a disservice because now that game you were banking on not mattering.
Yeah, fuck me. The final game of the season, I'm like, we got a guaranteed dub against the Chiefs at the end of the year. Nope. Yeah. They ain't going to be playing for that. They ain't going to be playing hard for that. So, yeah, in that way it sucks. But again, I mean, shout outs to the Chargers.
Yeah, they
2-1, knocking off the Chiefs on the road, and withstanding a final assault, by Patrick Mahomes and being able to hold the fort down and end that drive. Shout out to the Chargers.
Is this their run game though? And I got to check something. But is this that run game for the Chiefs? Because what was it? Last season, their first loss came against the Raiders, and I'm trying to see. Was it the same? No, it was not. It was later, and I thought it was the same week.
Oh, what? Week 3?
Yeah, but it wasn't. It came later in the season. But still, after they lost that Raiders game, they like went on a run. Mm-hmm. There was like the Raiders woke up the sleeping giant. You think that same thing is going to happen now? Because they've been playing. Granted.
No,
we're a good football team. I'm saying Cleveland Browns because that was their week 1 game. That was expected to be a tough game. Then you play, who they have week 2? The Ravens. Expected to be a tough game. And honestly, they should have won. Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled and gave the ball back to the Ravens. Then you get this game, home game. Division opponent, which can be tough. You get down, you come back, take the lead, and then you trick it off again. Even if they still had a chance to win on a Hail Mary. That's crazy.
So for me, this is why in our preseason power rankings, I had the Chiefs as 3rd.
Yeah.
Where obviously a lot of people had me the 1st or 2nd, and what did I kept saying to you? Fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have these sustained deep runs in the playoffs and it not catch up to you. Ask Golden State, ask the Lakers, ask the Patriots, ask these teams ask the Cavs when LeBron was ask these teams that are consistently playing past the end of the season.
Yeah.
That shit catches up. And especially that's tenfold in the NFL because you're taking hits and hits and hits and hits. And it's the more of those hits, the more of them games, the more that weighs on you. And I kept telling them they're going to be fatigued. Realistically, the Chiefs are 1 possession away from being 0-3 right now. They're 1 possession away from everybody being what the fuck happened to Kansas City?
True.
1 possession from y'all. That 1 Baker Mayfield pass away from being fucking 0-3.
True. They're 2 possessions away from being 3-0.
I mean, yeah, you can look at it that way, but again, where I'm looking at the Chiefs is that last year they'd be 3-0. Last year on them fresh legs. Yeah. You give them the Chiefs consistently 1-score games because I'll give them credit for that. Each game has been 1 possession.
Yeah.
You lost to the Raiders by 1 possession, or to the Browns by 1 possession. The Raiders by 1 possession. This by 1 possession. So you're in the games.
Yeah.
But you're not able to close.
Right.
Because you're tired. Your legs aren't there. As far as them going, I'm not gonna overreact to the Chiefs being 1-2,
right,
or being close to being 0-3. I'm not gonna overreact to them being 1-2 because I still, as we talk about, talent. They're gonna right the ship.
And speaking, they just picked up Josh Gordon as well.
Yeah, and they picked up Josh Gordon for the 6 games that he'll be on the roster. They're gonna be a beast for them 6 games before he gets suspended again.
They could conceivably win their next 10 games.
Yeah, easily. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I won't rule out the Chiefs. but I don't think it's a matter of waking up the sleeping giant. I just think that they're sleeping. I think that they're just still fucking tired.
You think they're in LeBron mode?
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that most people know LeBron just kind of
he
goes through the regular season.
He does enough to make sure his team makes the playoffs, and then it's like, okay, playoff time. Let's go. Yeah, I definitely see that. Again, I think that they're putting themselves, thankfully, they're putting themselves in jeopardy of losing the AFC West crown they've held with a fucking stranglehold for 5 years. They're about to fucking, they're on the track to losing it.
Think so?
You have literally you're in the bottom of your division, and two of the, and it's not even like it's, one of those other ones where it's like, you're 1-2, and it's 1-2, 2-1, 2-1. It's like you're 1-2, and then it's 2-1 who has a now tiebreaker over you. So the team directly above you still keeps you in place, and then the other two teams are both 3-0. So you're 2 games behind them at minimum.
Right, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, because you've only played one division game, so that kind of really helps.
Yeah, but they also haven't played division games either, which I get, and that goes both ways. But it's like they jumped out to 3-0 starts, and again, it's like for the Broncos, I know that we have a rough schedule coming up. Our next 4 games are going to be tough. It's really going to test to see where we're at. Mm-hmm. As I even told you before, I wanted us to come out of the first 6 games 4-2. And I still think we're well on track for that. Okay. Especially starting off 3-0. That means we could literally go 1-1 in the next 3 games. We could drop 1 or drop 2 and win 1, and we'd be right where I thought we'd be. Which again, we have the Ravens, Steelers, Raiders, and then the Browns. Yeah. So out of those next, that would put us at 7. Even if we come out of that shit, like let's say we drop 2 of those games, 3 of those games.
So you're 1-3, you're 4-3.
We're still 4-3. You know what I'm saying? And that's still solid enough to keep us in playoff contention. Right. But imagine if that's for the Broncos. Anyway, for the it's AFC West talk, so that's why I kind of got sidetracked. But shout out to the Chargers. Let's not spend too much time,
they're playing good football.
Going over the Chiefs and shit. Yeah, the Chargers are playing good. Again, I told you in my power rankings, I know you said you weren't high on them, but I was like, I had them, I think 11th, because I'm like, this team again, and they just showed it against the Chiefs, and they showed it, I believe it was week 1. Like, this team has the talent. They have the potential to be a problem. I kept saying, that's all I kept saying. I'm like, they will be a problem. If they can stay healthy on defense.
And that was my thing. It's like,
they can stay healthy on defense. With that offense, they're going to be a problem. I mean, look at Justin Herbert, 4 touchdown passes. Like, the kid is real. The kid is real. He can play. So it's like, the Chargers are going to be a problem. I've been saying that. The Chargers are going to be a problem.
We'll see if they can stay healthy.
See if they can stay healthy. And what was my other point? Let's see if they can stay healthy and see if they can fucking win at home. Why are you 2-1, but both of your wins are on the road? Yeah. So that could be an interesting thing for the Chargers as well. Moving to AFC NFC matchup, we got the surprise for me. We both got this call wrong. New Orleans Saints versus the New England Patriots. I guess I'll stop, just like I put a stopgap on talking shit about the Raiders. I will put a short-term moratorium on negative comments about the Saints. Because, y'all lost last game, but it was still a closer game. Like in week 2 for the Saints, their week 2 loss was close. But they blew out the Packers in week 1 and then blew out the Patriots in week 3. I mean, you hang up 38-28 and only give up, combined between them 2 games, 19 points. Or no, 16 points. Yeah. So it's like, 66-16 in 2 out of your 3 games. I mean, maybe that's the Saints, what you're saying with that defense, because it's not their offense. It's not their offense.
Their defense is legit.
It's not their offense. Because, I mean, again, Jameis Winston's not a fucking quarterback. 110 passing yards or 128 passing yards. He's not a fucking quarterback. You're not a quarterback, Jameis Winston.
But again, it's
But you have that defense.
Again, and it's just like, and we'll get to the Cowboys in a moment, but just like we said against last week, I mean, you can say that 21 pass attempts versus 38 running attempts. Like, I know people love to say that it is a passing league, but like people say numbers don't lie. In this instance, they don't. If you can run the football, you're gonna win football games. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what the Saints did. Kamara almost had 100 yards rushing, finished with 89, but he had over 100 total yards, which is his thing because he's a weapon out of the backfield.
All-purpose back.
Right.
APB.
And James didn't turn the ball over.
Surprisingly. Surprisingly.
So, yeah, you take care of the football and run the football and play sound defense, you can win games.
And again, not taking nothing away from the Saints, because I'm not going to say nothing negative, but where I'd had the Patriots, which they're still on. I know you thought that they'd be a playoff team or a potential playoff team. Still. I'm like, the Patriots are going to suck. The Saints took care of business. It's a team that you should beat. They're starting a rookie quarterback. They're still rebuilding. Like, that's a team you should beat. The Saints took care of business. Got nothing negative to say about them except for that James is not a fucking quarterback. Other than that, congrats to the Saints. I thought that they'd definitely start off 0-3. Again, I only had them winning like 5 games, so they're almost halfway there. So, congrats to them. And then we got another team that surprised the shit out of me, but it wasn't a surprise. Somebody had to win. I mean, not technically, I know there could have been a draw, but somebody needed to win between Atlanta and the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 2 0-2 teams, 2 bad teams. It was an ugly game.
And I was Mo Rider.
You were Mo Rider. You called Atlanta. I had the Giants. But again, it was a toss-up. It was a toss-up even at the day of. Remember, I think we both had it as like a 1-score game. I think you actually you might have called the score dead on.
I think I had it 2017.
Oh, 2017. Yeah. But, so, I mean, it was a toss-up. These are 2 bad teams. It was a game that kind of went exactly as you'd expect from these teams.
Yeah.
I don't think it changes shit for either one of them.
No.
The Falcons are still going to finish at the bottom of their division. They're likely still going to finish towards the bottom of the conference. The Giants are working diligently to make sure they finish at the bottom of the conference, apparently. So I guess that the Giants have already decided on who they're going to pick in the 2022 draft.
Hey, I mean, for the Falcons, it's the same thing. The Falcons are just trying to figure out what to put around Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Because I'm fairly confident this is going to be Matt Ryan's last year in Atlanta. They'll find a deal or they'll just cut him. So they're obviously be looking for a quarterback, but it's like, what other types of players fit around Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts? Because those are 2 great pieces.
Yeah. So I mean, it'll be interesting again, as we were saying before, to kind of watch what these teams do as far as prepping for next year, because that's where they're exactly where I thought they'd be. So like that's going to be the storylines, unfortunately, for these teams. It's like, what are they doing towards next year?
The Giants just keep Saquon healthy.
Just please
let him finish a season again, just to get that.
Yeah.
Mentally get over that.
I would still keep him if I was the head coach of the Giants and hadn't committed suicide yet. I would. That's a bad joke. Sorry. Especially given what we were just talking about. But it was if I was the head coach for the Giants, like I wouldn't run Saquon more than like 20, 25 times a game max. Yeah. 25 would be high. And I'm talking about for the rest of the season.
22 touches yesterday.
Yeah, that would be the max for me. It would be like 20-ish carries, and then that's it. Then we got the game that again, hey, I need another dab on this one. We both called this one Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. We both called it Fez. You called him little brother. And damned if they didn't show up and win like they were supposed to. They won in dominant fashion, in my opinion, because you go into Pittsburgh and win by 14.
Yeah.
Against any defense the Steelers put up, that's dominant.
Yeah, especially for them.
And
the Bengals have been down for a few years.
Yeah, and you're fielding a second-year QB, a first-year wide receiver, a ton of questions all over the field, but the Bengals looked good. It wasn't just that they won. They might fuck around and surprise some people. No, you're still not. I'm trying. I was trying. I tried it out. It didn't fit well.
I'll put it like this. No, they will surprise. They will surprise teams outside of division.
I now don't like our matchup with them. Like when we play them, I'm now sketchy. That's what I'm like. Yeah.
We're like gonna beat them.
They're like a mystery box.
Yeah, the Ravens will beat them. Pittsburgh, again, it's that thing. If they have one of those flashback offensive games, they would beat the Bengals. But as it stands now, their offense they haven't even found their legs. So and they're never gonna find their legs. They just need a throwback game. But outside of the division, the Bengals are still laughing stocks. So they'll surprise some teams. I mean, look at their wins. It's Minnesota. Then you lose to Who beat them in week 2? Can't remember.
I don't know.
But yeah, they had to win against Minnesota.
They lost. They beat the
the
Bears.
Vikings.
Yeah, they beat the Bears. They lost.
They lost to the Bears.
No, they lost to the Vikings. Oh wait.
They beat the Vikings, lost to the Bears.
My bad. I was looking at my predictions.
Nah.
Oops. Sorry.
Yeah, because
sorry, guys.
they injured Andy Dalton.
Yeah. They lost to the Bears, beat the Vikings. Yeah. My bad, guys. Sorry about that.
But again, the Bears that's the best defensive team they face. Mm-hmm. So that's a legit loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside of the AFC North, they'll surprise some teams, but they're not gonna surprise us, the Ravens. I think you guys, you guys are equipped to win the game. Like it wouldn't be scary.
Yeah,
I don't see them being the Chiefs or the Raiders or the Chargers. They'll probably go 1-3 against your division, but they're not. No, again from last year, they're competitive.
Yeah,
they're good enough to be a competitive team in games, but their ceiling is like 6 wins. What do you think about
the Steelers though? Because this has not been a good start for them. Because again, even their week 1 win, I know I had my boy blowing me up after it, and I told him because he wanted to call me the second the Steelers won the game, and it was a close game if I remember. Like, oh, what you got to say about the Steelers? What you got to say about the Steelers? And I'm like, they're still trash.
Still bad.
He was like, no, you doing something? I'm like, they're still trash. I'm like, it's week 1, bro. I kept saying, I'm like, it's week 1. They're trash.
Here's how you know you have a problem. and this here is exactly how you know you have a problem. Your best offensive player is a rookie.
Yep.
That's not the problem because it happens often.
Mm-hmm.
Your best offensive player is a rookie who is a running back.
Mm-hmm.
Your best player who was a rookie who was a running back had 100 yards receiving.
Yep.
That's how you know you have a problem.
Yep.
Your best player who was a rookie, who was a running back, led the team in receptions and receiving yards. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because your quarterback can't throw the ball 20 yards downfield.
Yeah. And that you targeted him. What is it? I'm looking at your screen. Sorry. You targeted him 19 times. So out of your 58 passes. Oh, which by the way, that's another fun thing that we talked about before the season started. We talked about it after week 1, especially as you brought it up, and I remember to remind you of it. Mm. That crazy weird stat of like if you throw more than 50 passes.
Yeah.
And again, we had it was this weekend. We had what was it? I think it was like 4 quarterbacks. It was like 4 or 5 passes that attempted over 50, and all of them lost.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
So you attempt 58 passes and 19 of those targets. That's 33%.
Out of the 58, 30 of those pass attempts were behind the line of scrimmage.
Did you understand? That's 33%. That's like a third of your passes. That means you're not even looking down the field.
Yeah.
If like every third pass is to your running back, you're not even looking. You can't look down the field
because you had 11 more.
Yeah.
That were basically receiver screens. So 30 of your 58 pass attempts are behind the line of scrimmage.
It's terrible. Because and that's what I was saying before. I'm like, the Steelers defense is always going to be the defense. But they have, and I was saying this in the power rankings, and I know Brandon was mad at me. That's why he came at me with it. Where I was like, yo, I want to rank them as the 25th team. You heard me saying that. But I'm like, their defense and Mike Tomlin is the only reason I can't. Yeah. But I kept saying, I'm like, that offense is going to be garbage.
Yeah.
And they were garbage against the Raiders, and that's why they got embarrassed against the Raiders. And they were garbage on Sunday, and that's why they got embarrassed by the Bengals. Yeah. Like, they're not good. They had a fluke week 1 win against the Buffalo Bills. And we've seen what the Bills did. Yeah. So Joe Burrow got rescued. And it's not even like it gets easier for him, man, because next week the Steelers have to go to Green Bay. And Aaron Rodgers, and I'll talk about this when we get to the Monday Night Football game, because I have to, again, correct myself. Because I was wrong about that. I thought Aaron Rodgers was phoning it in. I really did. I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to phone it in this season. He proved last night in 37 seconds that he's on some fuck you shit. Like, nah, I'm winning. So with Aaron Rodgers deciding that he's going to just win games now, even with 37 seconds and no timeouts, he's like, I got plenty. That's plenty. He was looking at Jimmy G like, I saw a meme where it was that the face of Leonardo DiCaprio from Django Unchained, where he's like and it was like that, but it was Aaron Rodgers' helmet, like 37 seconds left. You think the game's over? It's Aaron Rodgers over there. That's a bad man. That's who the Steelers got to play next week.
Yeah. And
so the Steelers could easily go to 1-3 out the gate.
They will be.
And they're going into Green Bay.
Here's the other thing, bro. Your best player, who's a rookie, who's a running back, had 40 yards on 14 carries. His longest carry was 20. So he had 13 carries for 20 yards.
Which is what I was saying before. What was I saying again? Like, they have no offensive line. You have this great running back, and maybe that's why he had all them receptions, because he can't fucking run.
Yeah.
The only way you can get your star rookie running back involved in the game is to throw him the ball, because one, your quarterback is a geriatric bastard from like 1985. I mean, he was like old in 1985, who can't throw the ball down the field anymore. So he has to just throw it to, behind the line to a running back. And you can't just straight up run the ball because you don't have an offensive line for this motherfucker to get out of.
Right.
That's why he has 13 carries for 20 yards. Because that's no carries for no yards. That's 1 yard to carry.
Exactly.
1.3. Like, you're not getting anywhere. You're not getting anywhere with that. That's what I was saying before. Like, they have no offense. So I think that this is just the beginning. And I'm hoping it's the beginning of a slide, because look at their schedule, bro. Like, they don't have a break. They got in Green Bay next week. Okay. Then they play us after that. Then they play Seattle after that. Then they have to go to Cleveland. That's their next 4-game stretch. They could easily go 0-4 in that stretch. Easy.
Good.
Green Bay, Denver, Seattle, Browns. Because especially like this will be week 5. So this will be after the Denver Broncos can answer a lot of questions that people have, because we play the Ravens.
True.
What if we come out and win against the Ravens? And now we 4-0.
Yeah.
So not only are we confident from the 3-0 start that we had, but now we went to actually beat a top flight team. And then we got the Steelers team that's struggling coming. Oh, we're going to fuck them up. So you lose one to Green Bay, then you lose one to us. Then you got Seattle, who is going to be on some vengeance shit, because as we've talked about, we'll get into that on the next game. I don't want to spoil your amazing stat with that, but Seattle going to have a bone to pick.
I have mixed feelings. And then the Browns are going to. And then the Browns going to.
I don't. I told you. I think that they're going to suck.
I do, because, well, one, obviously, my favorite coach in the league is Mike Tomlin. So I feel bad for him to have to go through a season like this. Secondly, I feel bad because as a Browns fan, I feel like we're going to get robbed.
What do you mean?
Because we are going to beat down the Steelers, and they're going to have every excuse in the book.
Oh, it's like to like delegitimize your win?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, no. As a matter of fact, let me oh man, where is I gotta find it. Where's that comment? You're a Steelers fan, leave a comment. He said the Steelers would blow us out, and I'm like, yeah, we'll see about that.
I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. Let's see what happens.
They'll do everything to we didn't have this, we didn't have that. Like, no. We're on a 2-game winning streak against the Steelers. It's probably going to be 4 by the time the season's over. And it's not going to feel the same. Because it's funner to beat the Steelers when they're good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, again, I'm interested to see. I think, and I have more confidence now, having seen what happened the last 2 weeks with the Steelers offense. Like, kind of validating what I'd said before the season started. I'm like, I don't see them having a good offense.
Question.
And then, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off. We just watched Justin Fields. How many sacks you think Myles Garrett is going to have against Pittsburgh?
I'll say 4. And I was about to say the same shit. Like, that's where, when you cut me off, I was going along the lines, not with Myles Garrett. I was thinking Von Miller. I was thinking about, again, I'm like, I said that the Steelers are going to have a sketchy or bad offense before the season started. It looks like a terrible offense now that the season actually has started. And they're going to have to play against Denver. And what have we been doing, regardless of what you want to say about them? Because we might lump the Steelers in that same category and be like, yo, no, it ain't them. It's our defense. If you have any issues on offense, our defense is making sure that you guys get shut down. And the Steelers have issues. To where now I'm gaining. Again, I want to see what we do against the Ravens. Because the Ravens have a vastly superior offense to the Steelers. Yeah. If we can keep them in check, if we can win that game, I might call it we pitch a shutout against the fucking Steelers. We might get 2
I mean, still could, even because that's a different animal.
No, I
Lamar
know.
Jackson is a different animal.
I know, but I'm just saying that what I'm looking at it by the same measure stick as the Raiders. Like the Raiders got through the Ravens. Right. We got to get through the Ravens.
Okay. That's fair.
Like if they did it, we got to do it.
Right. I'll see where you
go. So moving on to the next game, we got Tennessee versus Indianapolis. The Colts losing that game 16-25. For me,
as expected.
Yeah, I mean the Colts, they're coming out 0-3. As I said, and this is where it was a frustrating thing, and again in the power rankings for us, because I told you I didn't want to rank the Colts as high as I did. Right. Talent wise, on paper they were like my 16th ranked team, 16th or 17th. But I kept telling you that I'm like, I can't put the Colts. And even when we were talking about what teams committed to make the playoffs, and I was making an argument for the Broncos, and there were comments about the Colts, and I'm like, the Colts are not going to be there, not with all the injuries that they already have. And look at them, they're 0-3, and it's a bad 0-3. Like, it's not like, and for comparison, it's not like the Lions 0-3, where the Lions
are interesting 0-3.
Yeah, like again, and now this is also a division loss, so this puts them even further behind the 8 ball, so to speak. The Titans are going to run away with the division, and then surprisingly, the Texans are 1-2, so now it's like you're in a race for last, you're in a tie for last, the Colts and the Jags. I don't think anybody would have predicted that. So I mean. You're saying that you think the Colts can get better, or because you said it's an interesting 0-3. So what do you mean by that? It's an interesting
0-3 because, like you said, they've been bothered by injuries, but nobody's missed games. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like they're getting hurt in game and then coming back the next week. So it's like they really just haven't been able to develop a rhythm. It's just like I'm up, I'm down. Okay, I'm back, I'm down. Like. Yeah, they're just going to be on a yo-yo all season. But, I mean, even good, we both had Tennessee winning the division. Yeah. I had them as a friend. I had them competing for the 7th spot. I think if they can get a moment where they could actually play like 5-6 games in a row, they could be in that conversation, depending on how the rest of the conference plays out. But they could definitely be the first team out from last year. The last few years, there's always been like 2 or 3 teams that made playoffs and missed playoffs the next season, so they're definitely like that team. Like in my mind, even preseason, I knew they could be that team. And Pittsburgh could be that team.
No, I think the Colts are gonna have to. They're gonna have to take a strong, long, hard look at going into rebuild mode.
Yeah, they just got to flip the script. Here's the thing: you got 36. Carson Wentz throwing the ball 37 times, and Jonathan Taylor too. Jonathan Taylor's a fantastic running back. He's gonna get 10 carries. Like, bro, you got to run the ball.
I mean, you got Derrick Henry on the other side getting 113 yards.
Right. Derrick Henry we had more carries than the entire Indianapolis Colts running game.
Yeah, but look at what you said again. This is what we talked about when the Titans figured it out last week against the Seahawks. What do you need to do? Let Derrick Henry eat. Yeah. How do they win the game? Derrick Henry has more rushing attempts than Tannehill has passing attempts. Yeah. That's how you win the game.
Didn't even get in the end zone. Like, that's a bit, but it just run the ball.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You just need him to influence the game. 113 yards, because that's ball control. Yeah, absolutely. That's clock control. That's tiring the fuck out of the defense. That's setting up other plays. That's, again, what I'll talk about when we get to the next team. But what are your big takeaways from this game? We already talked about kind of where the Colts are going to be. I know that we also feel like the Titans kind of a runaway to take this division. So do you think that this... I didn't learn anything
from this game. The only for everybody that was kind of hopped on the Tennessee bandwagon, even though I know a lot of people had Tennessee above the Browns preseason. And I'm like, last time I saw these two teams on the field at the same time, we were beating them like 35-7 at halftime. So I don't know how that happened. But they got Julio, and a lot of people hopped on the bandwagon. And you and I both agree, like, dude, like
he's not going to do shit.
Right, they're not a pass-first offense.
40-something yards. Yeah. Got a couple of catches for like 40-something yards or something like Yeah,
and you got A.J. Brown's week to week, so we don't know when he's going to come back. So basically your offense is now, with A.J. Brown out, the exact same as last
Literally, it's the same.
It was last season.
It's give the ball to Derrick Henry, and then
and you have one good receiver.
Throw the ball to Julio.
So I didn't learn anything about either team, really.
All right, so then we'll move on to my game of the week. always my game of the week. It's victory, motherfucking Tuesday now, since we usually record on Mondays after the game, but we record on Tuesday now. To this one, that's why it's gonna be a little delayed for y'all. Sorry about that. But victory Tuesday for the Denver Broncos, home opener. Had the Jets. I know it's supposed to be an easy game, and we made sure it was.
It absolutely.
Yeah, but again, we didn't pick our schedule. We play who's in front of us, just like with every other team in the league. We play who's in front of us. But what I liked is that, again, it wasn't just how we played; it's that we played the way you would expect, and you would expect this performance from the Chiefs. Like you'd expect a 26-0 shutout from the Chiefs playing the Jets. You know, holding their team to 150,
maybe like 70.
Okay, so maybe more points. Whatever, fuck off. Like maybe more points, but again, that's not what our goal is. Right. Our goal is our defense. And what did I say all preseason and up till now? It's about Teddy Bridge being a game manager. He's not out there trying to be a gunslinger. We don't give a shit whether he has, 5 touchdown passes or none, so long as we win the game. And that's his mentality. So it's like for us, if this was the Chiefs doing this, like, oh, it's a shutout, you hold the team to 150 total yards of offense, everybody'd be like, oh yeah, they did what they were supposed to, oh, it was dominant. We did the same shit. So it's like, cool, it's a bad team, but we made sure that they still looked like a bad fucking team. We had, I think it was like 3 turnovers. We had 5 sacks. Again, only 150 total yards allowed, 113 passing yards for Zach Wilson. We hit him. We had like 9 quarterback hits. Apart from those sacks and apart from those interceptions, our defense looks great. Our defense looks exactly what they're supposed to be doing regardless of who they're playing against because, again, we're going to have games, obviously, where we play better teams where we're going to give up 300, 400 yards. Right. That's expected when we go up against teams like the Chiefs or teams like the Browns or whatever. Right. But it's like, how are they going to get those yards? So the Jets can't put up those numbers because we won't let them. Now, there's going to be teams where regardless of what the fuck we want, they have talent. Yeah. But if we're already showing that we'll constrict you to your bare minimum. Like, you're only going to get the bare minimum out of your offense against us. Mm-hmm. That's a positive sign for me. There's not a lot to take away from this game for a lot of other people. For me, it's right on cue with what I was saying. We're going down the line the way I was expecting. Our defense is showing up. Our offense is being managed. Again, Teddy Bridgewater, to this day, has only 20 incompletions on the season through 3 games. That's fantastic. He has the highest passer rating in the NFL, or he has the highest completion percentage in the NFL, the 5th highest passer rating. He's game managing. No one is, Sure. His passing percentage? Yeah. Completion? Yeah, it's at 75.8%. Just looked at it this morning.
So you might want to check again. I don't know where Baker dropped to because he was at 80.
Yeah, as of like, literally as of this morning, it was oh shit, what time is it? Yeah, as of this morning, it was he was number 1. But I'll look it up. This takes 2 seconds.
Because I know he dropped because he definitely didn't complete 80 yesterday or Sunday, but
no, he only missed 6 passes. He only missed 6 passes.
Who?
Teddy Bridge.
I'm talking about Baker.
Oh, Baker. Oh,
yeah. After week 2, but he was completing 81%. Flat out stupid. But
with you guys, after last night for Dak Prescott edged in front of Teddy Bridge. Oh yeah. So I was actually wrong. Teddy Bridge is at 76.8%. Dak moved up to 77.5. Nice. After last night. Baker's at 73.8. Dropped to 5th. So either way, so before last night, Teddy Bridgewater was number 1 in completion percentage, still number 2, still at an alarm 77%. Yeah. 70, that's insane. So he's doing exactly what I need him to do, as I was saying, just manage the game. No turnovers. He still has no turnovers, knock on wood. Still no turnovers. Just touchdowns, just good plays. I know he didn't throw one yesterday. Didn't need to. Still won 26-0 without him throwing a touchdown pass because he managed the game, he controlled the game, and our defense is a beast. Yeah.
So and that's why for you guys, again, it's similar to the time. Like I didn't learn anything new about you guys. Like,
and I can't agree with that more. That's the same thing. Like for me, it's just an enjoyable thing to watch. I love that we're 3-0. I love that we took care of business because even as you called the Jets game, it could easily be a trap game. We could have looked past them to look at the Ravens. Yeah. And we fucking didn't. We looked straight at the Jets and we're like, nah, y'all aren't scoring on us.
Who I did look at though. Zach Wilson.
Oh my God. Okay. I gotta say this. I have to publicly apologize for all that shit I was talking. All the hype train I bought into on Zach Wilson and the Jets. Damn, I was wrong. Holy shit. That's so bad. He's not bad, man. I don't know. I'm gonna stop with that though.
But it goes into a bigger point. Do you think this rookie class of quarterbacks was overhyped? If you look at nobody's playing well.
None of them are playing well. Right. And none of them have won a game yet.
Yeah, they have. Mac Jones.
Oh, Mac Jones. Okay.
Yeah, he's on the combined. They're like 1-9.
I was thinking about this past weekend that all 4 of them lost.
Yeah, they all lost this weekend. Yeah, overall, they're 1-9. He's the only one that's won a start.
That's crazy. Yeah. So for I don't know. I think it's quarterback. They're rookie quarterbacks that are being thrown into the fire on already bad teams that didn't have the luxury of having even a decent quarterback for them to learn under. Like Justin Fields is kind of the only exception to that rule.
Right.
And then Andy Dalton gets hurt. I don't believe shit anymore about Matt Nagy, but I thought that his idea was to try to do what Frisco's doing. Frisco seems to be the only one getting it right. Right. With how they're using Trey Lance. Yeah. Enough to get him reps, enough to kind of mix up their offense, but not put him in a position of like, oh, you're going to be the starter or whatever. So it's actually like I don't know. I think that these guys just got it rough, especially.
If you look at last year, Joe Burrow at all 4 of them, fire.
I think the problem is that all 4 of them, unlike Joe Burrow, all 4 of them are in the AFC. And so you got 4 rookie quarterbacks coming into the best conference in football and the conference that why it's the best is that it's the most dominant on defense.
Yeah. With the exception of Justin Fields.
Yeah, with the exception of Justin Fields. But I'm talking, like you got Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. I'm like, you're coming in. Good luck, man. Yeah. And I'm not going to include Trey Lance because, again, he's not really being used. He's not starting. He's like kind of a couple of snaps a game. So, yeah, with the exception of just Justin Fields, 3 out of them 4 guys walking right into the defensive conference. You got the Ravens and the Steelers and the Browns and the Broncos. It's like...
Yeah, and the Bills.
And the Bills. And then you have Derrick Henry stiff-arming the shit out of everybody in Jacksonville. And it's like, to a point, it's like, yeah, I don't think that they were... I don't want to overreact to rookies until, again, for me, the halfway point. Because they're rookies.
Right.
Like, if when it comes to second, third, or veterans, like, nah, you got a few games, like Andy Dalton. You got a few fucking games. Because you've been here long enough. You need to show and prove right away. Like Dak Prescott, I'm watching you last night. I need to see, is that ankle really healthy? Looks healthy.
Right.
He looked good.
Oh, yeah.
He looked good.
Dak played very well.
But you know what looked better? Eli Manning's impersonation of Dak Prescott's opening his hips. Eli getting on there with the dance moves. Yeah. And his little man, Eli was getting it. He looked good. He should come back and play. Hey. Just not for the Giants.
Just not for the Giants.
He still look mobile. He still look agile. He look young. Eli hitting him with the dance moves. Anyway, okay, so moving on to a matchup again, a game that you got wrong. I got right. You called Miami. I called Las Vegas.
Wow.
I did not expect it to go like that. Game was so fucking random.
That was a good game to watch.
That game was so random. Yeah. So it starts off 14-0, then inexplicably, what fucking play call was that? You're in the end zone and you throw a backwards wide receiver screen pass or whatever the fuck you were doing.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't even like there was a fake. Like the dude who got I don't know the name of the DB off the top of my head for the Raiders. I'm sure my guys will let me know in the messages.
I think it was Trayvon Mullen before he got hurt.
It might have been, but whoever it was like I could have made that play.
Yeah,
because
the pass was off target.
There was no. It was like so automatic. You hiked it and looked right at him and threw it.
Yeah,
like the DB just stood there like okay.
If he doesn't have to jump for that pass, I think Jalen Waddle makes a move. Yeah, at least gets out of the end zone.
At least, even if that's such a so then that makes it 14-2. Then it's 14-5. It was just like such a weird game. Yeah. And before you know it, it goes from being 14-0 to being
14.
Yeah, it goes from 14-0 to then 25-14.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait, what the fuck? So then there's a vast swing from one side to the other. And it's like, oh, this game looks like it's over.
And then
wrong. And then the 11 points disappears and fucking in fucking the last like couple of minutes of the game, they end up converting a fourth and goal. The Dolphins do. They convert a 4th and goal to make it a 2-point game, then get the 2-point conversion to send this bitch to overtime. The Raiders they have kind of a lackluster first drive, but they get that first kick. The Dolphins come down. I fucking told you on that 4th and 2 the Dolphins needed to go for it. You're like, nah, you take the points. You take the points. I'm like, no, because now it comes into a field goal thing. And I'm like, and the Raiders have been moving the ball the past few weeks. They've shown that they can move the ball. Derek Carr's leading the league in passing yards. I'm not like where the Niners fucked up last night or Sunday night. I am not putting the ball back in Derek Carr's hands this year. I'll say that out loud for the first time in my life. Most positive thing I'll ever say about the Raiders. This fucking year, no, I am not putting the ball back in Derek Carr's hands
right now. He's got his
386. Get the fuck out. Like, no, I'm not putting the ball back in his hands. That's why I was telling him, like, no, you go for it on 4th down. Fuck them. Because, John Gruden would have.
You either way.
I'll give him that. John Gruden fucking would have. If that role was reversed and he was down 3, 4th and 2 on their side of the 50, yeah, John Gruden had gone for 4th.
Well, he's an offensive-minded coach, and he has no faith in his defense. Brian Flores is a defensive-minded coach, and he has faith in his defense. I'm not mad either way. You can take the points or you can go for it. Like, either way, you're putting the onus on your defense.
Yeah,
either way, like, you put in because if you go for it and you don't get it, it's game over.
Derek Carr's playing out of his fucking mind. Like, I gotta give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, he's playing good football.
I would never have guessed this shit from him. Ever. Like, fucking ever. And again, he's in my division, so I've been watching this asshole for years. Like, he's playing like somebody possessed. And so shout out to the Raiders for that. Again,
he's got one of the best targets in the NFL, Darren Waller.
Darren Waller's a beast.
Yeah.
I do have one. This is a negative. I know I said I had a moratorium on negative comments for the Raiders, but fuck this. John Gruden's a fucking punk for running the clock all the way down in OT from like the 5-yard line before kicking the field goal.
Yeah.
You ran it all the way down to 3 seconds when there was like he got in that position with like 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Kick the fucking field goal and send us home.
Nah, you never know what can happen.
Bullshit.
I agree with that 100%.
No, that was a punk move. We can agree to disagree on that because I felt like that shit pissed me off. I'm like, dude, the game should have been over because now you're just risking injuries.
You know what he heard in his headphones before the game started?
I don't know what
because this was a late afternoon.
I don't know what Chucky heard.
Yo, Justin Tucker just won a game with a 66-yard field goal.
But
I'm not giving y'all that.
No, but it's not even an opportunity thing.
At him, because if we mess up, if it's a bad snap, if we miss, I'm not giving you a couple seconds to get 40 yards so you can kick a 67-yard field goal and beat me. Nah, I 100% agree with it.
Nah, okay, so we'll agree to disagree. I felt like it was a fucking punk move. It was the only thing that detracted from what I felt was a fantastic win for the
especially Raiders. With the Dolphins. You know how many inexplicable wins the Dolphins have over like the last 20 years?
I don't care. I feel like, as I said, agree to disagree. You're not going to convince
Patriots?
Me. You're not going to convince me. It was a fucking punk move. You're not going to convince me because it was a punk move. Because I could understand that completely if you're attempting like a fucking 40 or 50-yard field goal. They were at the 5. This is a 20-yard chip shot. If your kicker, if you have no confidence your kicker can make that without messing up somehow, then you need to fire everybody on your special teams. If you can't make a 20-yard kick with confidence, that you have to run 3 minutes of playtime off the clock and kick it with zeros out, fuck you. Like, you're just a punk. For me, it detracted from what was an honestly amazing win for the Vegas Raiders. Like, the fact that they're 3-0 and the way that they've won these games, the grit that they've shown, the Raiders are going to be a problem. And I want to give them more credit, but that was a fucking punk move. And you're not going to change my mind. Anyway, moving on. We got again, just congrats to the Raiders. I think that the Dolphins, as I said before, I didn't have them making the playoffs this year. I thought you said you thought I was crazy because I only had them winning like 7 games. And now, especially with Tua being out, them 1-2.
Tua being out is a fantastic thing for them.
I mean,
if Tua had played this game, score would have been 31-3.
All right, so you think the Dolphins still have a chance to make the playoffs?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, the Raiders aren't better than the Dolphins. Like, that game showed it. They're in the same tier.
Okay.
Like, it's just that game could have went that game could have went 31-10 Dolphins. That one play changed the course of the game. So, like, there's 2 teams on the same tier. Raiders got the edge.
Okay.
But no, the Dolphins are definitely Good for it. As long as Brian Flores, again, slips a little pink note to the team doctor and say, yeah, when Tua's ready, tell him he's not ready.
Like, nah, you're gonna keep him on the sideline.
Yeah, I'm rocking with Jacoby Brissett.
Fuck up his treatment if you have to. Tell him to get in the cold tank. He's supposed to get in the hot tank. Give him some cramps or something. Yeah. I don't know. So next game, another game. Okay, so people, we kind of quick spoiler. We finished out the week 11-5, both of us on our predictions. But we had some differences coming down the stretch. This is one of them, Tampa Bay versus LA Rams game. Yeah. You had Tampa Bay, and I called it as much as I love Tom Brady. Tom terrific. I told you, I was like, I think that he takes his first L against the Rams.
Yeah, but I picked the Rams for future.
Yeah, you picked them for the Super Bowl and everything else. And
see, now they got it backwards. Now they playing the playoffs.
You think the Bucs win?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I picked it as the Rams winning at home. I'm still very concerned, honestly, about the Rams defense. Like, I'm really concerned. Like, I know that they won the game. You know, they only gave up 24 points, but they also gave up over 400 yards passing. You know, like...
But they only gave up one passing touchdown.
No, I know. Again, the Rams defense is still great. Like, when I'm saying that is I'm not... My concern for the Rams defense moves them from, like, oh, they're like the number one defense to, like, they're like the number 4 defense. Like, that's my level of concern. Okay. I don't want people to think it's like some fucking drastic thing where I'm like, oh, the Rams defense is trash. And I'm like, no, they're just not as good as they should be, which is scary. You know, it's like, I'm like, they're not as good as I thought. Like, I thought they'd be more dominant. I really did.
See, I'm trending the other way. Because they did give up a lot of yards, but remember, my concern was from week 1. They got ran all over. Mm-hmm. They only gave up 35 rushing yards this game. To me, that's what they needed to fix.
But is it, though? Because you're also only giving up 35 rushing yards to a team that notoriously doesn't run the ball.
They ran the ball to win the Super Bowl, though. They didn't get good until they got...
overall. Like, even if you look at the past 3 weeks for the Bucs, I don't think they've had a 100-yard rusher yet, or even close.
Yeah, but
they're primarily a passing team.
When they play good football, it's because their running game's going. Even look in the Super Bowl.
I'm not arguing that point. Yeah. I'm just saying that they're primarily like they're a pass dominant team. I mean, how Brady threw up 55 pass attempts.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want.
That's how even what was it, week 1 against the Cowboys? Yeah. Brady had 49 pass attempts. They're a pass heavy team. They always have been.
Yeah, but for the Rams defense, you say you're disappointed. Who are your best 2 players?
Well, Jalen Ramsey is your DB and then Aaron Donald at tackle.
Exactly. When are they being utilized best?
Passing game.
Yeah, when the other team is throwing the ball. So if you can run the ball, you pretty much you definitely eliminate Jalen Ramsey, even though he comes up and runs. He comes up and runs. You basically
activate Aaron Donald.
But again, like Chicago showed you,
activate Aaron Donald by putting him on the fucking field.
Yeah, you can negate him.
You just put Aaron Donald on the field. Doesn't matter what you run.
Yeah, like the Chicago Bears showed though, you can negate him. Like, but if you just let him have 50 opportunities to tee off on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And if I know Jalen is going to shut down half of the field, then now we're working.
So what's your takeaway from the game then? Like, do you think this is a bad game for the Bucs? Do you think it was
I think it's a bad game for the Rams because, again, I think they'll lose the rematch.
Oh, yeah. Especially against Tom Brady.
Yeah. You need to take this out.
I feel bad for the Patriots. I feel so bad for the Patriots. Tom Brady coming off an L to a team that he feels like he has to beat and going back into New England and playing the Patriots for the first time in New England. Oh, I feel bad for the Patriots on week 4.
I feel great.
I feel bad for the Pats because I think Tom Brady's going to fucking go nuts. He's going to be mad. Again, I thought for me, I'm extremely impressed. And I said that I was going to reserve judgment so I could see what he did. I'm extremely impressed with Matt Stafford. Yeah. He has looked like a man reborn. He looks happy.
Everybody wrong.
Yeah, he looks happy. He looks composed. He looks controlled. He looks excited.
He looks like Detroit. This is what could have happened had you drafted correctly.
Yeah, had you helped me out. So yeah, Matthew Stafford is looking. He's looking great. Like I'd probably put him again, it's way too early to talk MVP, so I'm not going to talk MVP race, but he looks good for a candidate. Like, if people are going to be talking about that, he's a hell of a lot stronger candidate than fucking Kyler Murray, the assholes were saying last week.
If Matthew Stafford plays 10 more years in the system, he could make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he could probably make the Hall of Fame if he just wins this year. So, keeping to the NFC, we got the Seattle Seahawks being surprisingly upset, because I know neither one of us saw that coming, against the Minnesota Vikings.
That was a tough one.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe that the Seahawks lost, especially like that badly. Like 17-30, that's a rough game for the Seahawks in that defense. And then now drops into 1-2. Like, ooh, what are the implications of that though? Because now you got the Rams at the top of the division at 3-0. You got the Cardinals tied with them at 3-0. You got the Niners at 2-1. And realistically, and not realistically, but it's like the Niners were 37 seconds away from being 3-0. So, you know, you're looking at the Seahawks and you're in a division with, you know, I'm going to say it this way, 3*3-0 teams. You know, because, like, again, the Niners should have been.
Yeah.
And you're 1-2. Like, what do you...
They'll beat the Niners. They're a big problem.
Two of your losses.
Your problem is the Rams.
One of your now this is a conference loss, because obviously the AFC loss to the Titans doesn't hurt you as much, but
your problem is the Rams. You need the Rams to hit a speed bump.
And do you think that so what do you think about the Seahawks? Do you think that they'll recover from this, or because we were talking again preseason, like we thought the exact opposite about the Seahawks, because they always start off hot.
Yeah,
they always start off like out the gate, like 5-0, 6-0, or 7-1 or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like, for me, I'm like, oh shit, like I don't know how to feel about the Seahawks starting off 1-2. Like, this is so weird for me. I think, like, as a sports fan, because they haven't done this shit in years. I'm like, wait, what, yo?
But they kind of haven't been
under 500.
They kind of haven't been in this position. This game, to me, is more about the Vikings than the Seahawks. Really? This lets me know something about the Seahawks for later.
Okay.
The Seahawks they come out fast, but they haven't played a team. This was a must-win game for the Vikings.
Yeah,
we were a team. I think we both had them in the playoffs.
I had them in the playoff hunt. I think you had them.
I had
them in the hunt.
Yeah, you're talking about them potentially starting off 0-3.
Yeah,
you have to win this game, and to me, it was like they were just hungrier than Seattle. Like, statistically, it's like Seattle played good enough to win. Russell Wilson was 300 yards, touchdown. DK had over 100 yards. Chris Carson had over 80 yards. Minnesota was just hungry. You give up 112 yards rushing to the backup running back because Dalvin Cook didn't play.
Right.
Like, they just came out like this was a must-win game. They played it like a must-win game, and they won it. Like, it was a business trip, and they handled business.
So you think the game is more important for the Vikings than Seattle?
Yeah, lets me know that they're privy to what's going on. Like, we cannot start 0-3. Especially, again, looking at Arizona, 3-0. Looking at San Fran, 2-0, because these are the teams you're going against. Looking at the Panthers, 3-8. We cannot fall 3 games behind the Carolina Panthers.
Mm.
Seattle, this scares me for down the road. Because down the road, your last 4 or 5 games are going to be against teams who are going to be in the same situation. So whereas previous seasons, Seattle's been able to win those games down the stretch, are they going to be as hungry? Or are the hungrier teams,
I think Seattle misses
going to be able to get them?
For me, the implication for this game is that Seattle misses the playoffs.
I think it's a bigger possibility this season. At this point, I think it's a bigger possibility right now than I would have thought prior to the season start.
Yeah. I think that this was a really, really bad loss for the Seattle Seahawks. Like, this was a shock loss for me. I thought that the loss last week was bad enough. You give up, a big halftime lead. But again, that was like me, as I told you last week, I didn't want to take away from the Titans,
right?
And give credit, or it'll be like, oh, well, the Seahawks lost games. Like, no, Tennessee came out and won that game, but I was like, that's bad for the Seahawks,
right?
But I'm like, but it's one game. This one was, I'm like, this is bad.
So I think it's a combination.
This is a bad game. Like, you give up a lead. You lost the game you should have won, and then you just don't even show up the next week. I think that the Seattle Seahawks missed the playoffs. And again, not just because they're starting 1-2, not just because the end of their regular season schedule, like those last 4 to 6 games are all rough. Not just because of those things, but primarily because look what the rest of their division is doing.
Yeah.
With 3-0, 3-0, 2-1. And then, like, yeah, I know that they'd likely be competing for a playoff spot, but when was the last time Seattle had to compete for a playoff spot? They basically ran the NFC West for years.
Yeah. And
I don't think that they're ready for that. I don't think they're ready to go back to, like, pre-Super Bowl Seattle that had to just grind and wasn't just given a berth to the playoffs. Right. And I don't think that they'll have it. I don't think that they'll be able to. I think Seattle misses the playoffs for the first time in years this year after this game.
And that's why I think I think it's more the Rams. I'm not worried about San Fran from Seattle. I'm not worried about Arizona. We can catch them with ease. They need to catch the Rams. They need the Rams to hit a couple hiccups.
Yeah.
Because that, again, I think them going in as a wild card would put them in a better spot in general. But I think it'll be more difficult for them to get that wild card spot than it will for them to get in winning the division.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, and going into that division and staying in the NFC with the game that, game of the week, so to speak, it was Sunday Night Football. Packers, Niners. How much time is appropriate to leave on the clock for Aaron Rodgers? Is it really is just none at this point, right? Like
none.
You have to risk losing the game on offense
because
he's giving him back the ball.
He's going to find Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is going to catch it, and you're going to lose.
37 seconds, 37 fucking seconds, and no timeouts. And the sicker part is that it was just 2 passes.
Yeah,
it was just 2 passes. Both to Devontae Adams, both exactly where they needed to be.
They probably could have got more yards. Devontae Adams wasted like 7 seconds trying to get out of bounds on the first catch.
Yeah.
If he just caught it and went straight down, they might have scored a touchdown.
Or if he'd caught it and ran up the field.
Oh, yeah.
Like if he wasn't even concerned with the sideline.
Yeah.
Being like, we got 37. We can still get up and spike. If he just took off up the field.
Right.
They might have been able to kick it after just one play.
Yeah.
But
even though I don't think he should have been in the game.
Oh, no. He was
concussed.
Yeah. If y'all watched the game, Devontae Adams got cleaned the fuck out.
Yeah.
And was laying on the field for like 2-3 minutes, clearly unconscious. And then they let this motherfucker back in the game. Like, he should not have been in the game at all. Yeah. Like, that was an illegal hit. I felt like it was an illegal hit, too. But anyway, like, yeah. So, I gotta correct myself. I didn't think Aaron Rodgers was going to take this season seriously after seeing him decide to go down and win a game with 37 seconds left. Clearly, he still cares about winning.
Told you, man. He don't like San Fran.
Yeah, you called it. You did. You said that he'd have a hell of a good game. I'm pretty sure I picked San Fran. I think you picked Green Bay. No, we both picked. Wait.
No, you picked San Fran. I picked Green Bay.
Yeah, so you were more righter on that one. Because again, as I said, the jury was out for me on whether or not I thought Aaron Rodgers was gonna actually decide to play this season. And after seeing that, like, yeah, he's clearly playing. He's clearly gonna play, and then that means that's a problem for the rest of the NFC. If Aaron Rodgers is gonna play, which he did by leading that game-winning drive, it's a problem for the NFC. Because the Packers are going to be good. There was a week 1 fluke. Yeah. So they have to be back on everybody's radar at the top of the list. They got to be one of those teams that everybody's worried about.
Absolutely.
And for the Niners, I actually thought that it was a great game for them. I thought it was a fantastic game for them.
Yeah,
they played really well. They looked good. They had a good flow to their offense. I like that they're figuring out a good balance of what plays to incorporate Trey Lance into. Because I like that how they're doing it because they can disguise some of their plays now. Like it looks like a wildcat bringing them in, but obviously he's a legit quarterback and can throw. So they have some cool little trick plays I saw them trying out. I like where San Francisco's at. It sucks to lose a game like that you should have won. You should have been 3-0.
Absolutely.
It doesn't suck as bad as losing on a 66-yard fucking field goal. It feels the same because it's like he had to go 75 yards, I guess realistically like 40 yards in 30 seconds. But I still think the Niners are in a fantastic spot. I liked that they were winning the game against a quality opponent against the Packers. So it's not like the bye week 1 with the Lions. It's not the throwaway that they had last week where they were up by a ton and then almost gave it away at the end. They were up like 41 something and it was 41-33 at the end. I was like, no, like they actually played a good team and they played them tough. And I think that the Niners, I don't think that they have a chance. I'm going to retract my idea that they're my dark horse to win it all.
Okay.
I don't think that they're strong enough for that. And watching them play, they're definitely a playoff team.
Right.
But I don't think that they're still one step away from that next level. I'll have to retract that. As much as watching them play on Sunday night and watching that offense gave me more confidence in them moving forward, it, in a weird way, also made me be like, oh, you guys are going to be good, but you're not nearly as great as I thought you were going to be.
Right. For me, this was a very bad loss for them. Very bad loss long term. Because I think over the next 5 weeks, Green Bay really has a chance to pull away from the middle of the pack. You got Pittsburgh, the Bengals, the Bears, the football team, and the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. If they win those 5, now you're talking about it was 7-1. It's basically them and the Rams controlling their own destiny, and with tiebreakers over San Fran, Cardinals, like as if anybody in their division catch them is even a question. Like they can put a lock on that 2 seed. San Fran, this game draws you closer to Seattle. It was already a problem for you. Mm-hmm. It puts you in third in your division, which is a problem because now the Rams can pull away from you. Arizona could potentially pull away from you. The Vikings are awake now. Like this was not a game for. They needed this one, and it's gonna hurt long term.
It especially hurt because you lost it literally at the last second.
Yeah, this is the game. If they don't make the playoffs, this is gonna be the game they look back like we should have won that game.
Okay. I can definitely see that. And going into the final game of the week, it's a game for me. I'm gonna steal a line from you. I didn't learn much from this game. The Eagles versus the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football. I didn't learn much from it except for that Dak Prescott's back. He looked good. The first 2 weeks you could tell that he was still, testing out, how comfortable he was, after the injury and everything else. Yeah. Last night they looked better. He looked better. He looked mobile. He looked confident. I love that, again, just like with the Titans, they realize we have a fantastic dynamic duo of running backs.
Yeah.
So give them the ball. If you do that, we'll win the fucking game.
Yeah. 160 yards rushing as a team.
Yeah. And then, so I'll let you take this because you had a point I didn't want to take away from you about that comment. What the Cowboys need to do with Dak Prescott.
Yeah. They are now, what was it, 27-5? Mm-hmm. When they have more rushing attempts and passing attempts, with Dak Prescott starting as QB, it's like, you were saying that Dak looks more comfortable. Somebody smacked Mike McCarthy. That's what I think happened. Because you could easily say they could have beat Tampa Bay if they'd have ran the ball more. Mm-hmm.
That's literally what I said. Right. I was like, dude, you have Zeke.
They didn't. They lost.
Yeah.
But the last 2 weeks, they pounded the ball, and you see the results.
And they pounded the team.
Right. And you don't have
one handily.
Right. You don't have one solid running back. You have 2 solid running backs. They probably have the second best backfield in the league.
Yeah, they almost fucked around and almost had 100 yards. It was like 95 and 85. That's a couple of plays from you having 2 guys rush for 100 yards in a single game.
Right.
On your team. Just run the ball.
Yeah.
You have the number 1 offensive line in the league. Run the ball.
Yeah, and you said let's say Dak looked more comfortable because the pressure wasn't on. He wasn't playing from behind. Mm-hmm. He was able to relax.
That's why he was only able to miss. He only missed 5 passes. Yeah. 21 for 26, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he made great reads, great play designs. The one touchdown to Schultz, where he runs like the wheel towards the sideline. Pollard came out of the backfield, and I think Amari went on a post to trap the safety and make Darius Slay come back to the flat to respect Pollard. That's great play design, and Dak recognized it. Touchdown Schultz, great play, but it's all because of the run game.
Yeah. It all gets set up from there.
Yeah.
And the more and more that they do it, the better they look. So, again, that was my biggest takeaway. Because I didn't learn a lot from this game. The Eagles, I'm not going to dismiss it without saying something to them. Jalen Hurts looked like a young QB. He had a one pick in particular that he threw that, like, from the second it left his hand, like, in my head, I'm like, please don't be throwing that where the fuck I think it's going. Like, I was like, when he wound up for, because, when we play Madden and shit, like, because you own a new Madden, I won't buy a Madden again for a couple of years because they don't fucking change anything. I'm not going to keep shelling out $60.
We're just going to talk about it. We're going to talk about that one episode.
Yeah, we're going to have a game
episode to Madden.
To Madden. So I was watching you play the other day, the new one, and you remember I was sitting there like, you threw a pass exactly to the guy I was holding. I was like, oh, thank God that's where you went. Yeah. I was like, because he was so open, and I hope that you saw it. Yeah. It was the opposite last night with Jalen Hurts. Because I was watching it, again, what am I? I'm a defensive fanatic. Yeah. I love fucking defense. So I'm like watching the scheme, and then I'm watching him go through his progressions. He only went through one read, then he went to the next guy and stayed there.
Right.
And then as he wound up, and I'm like, don't. Like, to me, I'm like, don't do that. That's not there. And it was sure as shit. The second, I was surprised dude didn't get a pick six. Because it was like that obvious. I'm like, that's such a bad throw. Don't throw that. But second year.
They did have one pick six, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't that play. It was a different play.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude. So, I mean, again, I don't think that Jalen Hurts is bad. I think that he's actually kind of shown me a lot of good things.
Yeah.
He surprised me because I don't have expectations for him. So I don't have a positive or a negative. I don't have a floor or a ceiling for Jalen Hurts. He's probably the only guy in the NFL that, like, I'm an open book to.
Yeah,
I'm like, fair. Being like, yeah, just whatever you can do. I'm actually just curious. Like,
he's also learning with the talent around him.
Exactly.
I mean, you got Miles Sanders, young running back.
Yeah.
You got Devontae Smith, rookie receiver. You got Jalen Rager, second-year receiver.
Yeah.
So, like, they're learning this thing together.
It's a young team. It's a building team. I know he's in his second year. I know he has potential and talent. So for me, he's like probably literally the only guy in the NFL that I'm just like, I'm just curious. Like, if the Eagles sucked and they only end up winning the one game and they go 1-16, I'd be like, okay. If they run the table and end up finishing, 15-2, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. Like, either one wouldn't really surprise me with Jalen Hurts. I just want to kind of see what the kid does.
This one is just, the Cowboys are just more talented.
Yeah.
And they're starting, it's whatever's going on in those coaches meeting, whoever has the biggest voice, obviously people are just starting to listen to that voice because they're doing smart things.
And this is where I hate the fucking Cowboys. Excuse my language, people. I mean, if you're worried about my language at this point,
they will always have the talent.
This is where I hate the Cowboys because they do this. They do this to you. So I feel like the Dallas Cowboys are like an abusive boyfriend. It's like he looks really, like, let's say he's super handsome. He looks really good. He says all the right things. He's charming, whatever. And you're like, yeah, I'll try this out. And you get into a relationship with him and he like puts his hands on you. You're like, yo, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with that shit. Like, fuck you. But then he comes back like the next year. And he's like, no. Like, I went to rehab and I got therapy and I got all these sessions. You're like, all right, I'll try it out again. You look like you've changed. I can see the improvements. You look better. It'll be, oh, you look great. And then this time he lasts about 8 weeks before he starts beating the shit out of you. And you're just like, dude. This is like a never-ending cycle with the Cowboys. So I feel like I'm on that with them right now. Like, this is, again, we're getting duped into thinking that this guy is not going to be Dorian Gray from 50 Shades of Grey. And he's like not going to, because they're like, oh, they look good. They're 2-1. Their defense, their running game. And then I hate to guarantee that by like week 10, we'll be sitting here and they'll be like fucking terrible. Like, they might go like 2-7. Between now and then, or whatever it'll break down to, and we'll be sitting here week 12, like, bro, come on, again, y'all are 4-8 now. You were 2-1, now you're 4-8.
I don't see that happening though. They got a favorable stretch.
I hope not, because they
got a big game next week.
But that's the thing. What is the thing about the Cowboys? They lose to teams they're not supposed to. Unlike what I was saying in my argument about the Broncos, or about teams like the Chiefs, like typically. Chiefs last year. Like, what do the Cowboys do more often than any other team in the NFL, in my opinion, that's supposed to be a good team? They lose to teams they're supposed to beat.
Yeah, to be fair, they have not been playing football like this during those times.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let the Cowboys into my house again.
Their next 5 games.
From my lesson. No, there's only so many times that you can let somebody trick you into doing something. I'm not gonna say nothing about the Cowboys. They'll make the playoffs. I mean, that's the only thing I can say for sure is that they'll make the playoffs because I think that they'll win their division. Now that they're up 2-1 and they have the lead. I mean, the Giants aren't going to be competing for shit. Washington's got a rough upcoming schedule as we talked about earlier. Yeah. And now you have the tiebreaker on the Eagles. So the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East. But by double digits, I hope so. I really hope so. For that reason, like I hope that this is the boyfriend finally changing, you know, that it's actually real that he can get to double digit wins. I hope so, because I'm tired of it being like a sub 500 or a single digit team, the single win team that gets into the playoffs.
I think they hit 10 wins at least.
Okay. So, quick thoughts on the weekend as a whole. Like, what do you think it was like the best weekend of football that we've had in a while? Because I kind of do. I felt like it was dope. Or no? Nah. I
mean, it's a good football weekend. But nah, it was the best. It was just this season is starting off just really interesting.
What was your favorite thing that happened this weekend? What was your favorite moment of the weekend? It doesn't have to necessarily just be football. It could be anything. What was your favorite moment of the weekend?
Favorite moment of the weekend?
Yeah.
That was probably Myles Garrett breaking because he set the franchise sack record. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool to watch. It'd been better to be there in person, but anytime you see historical events, it's always cool.
Okay. So for me, I'm going to take it away from football real quick as we wrap up the show. Mm-hmm. I'm actually give probably a weird shout out. So we went to the Las Vegas Aviators game last night.
Yay!
AAA affiliate of the Oakland A's baseball. They're playing against the Oklahoma City Dodgers, obviously affiliate of the LA Dodgers. I'd hope at least. We was having a good time, man. It was a fun game, but definitely early in the game because we got there right at the beginning. First, second inning, there's a guy who came to know his name was Steven Souza Jr., I believe. I believe his name is Steven Souza Jr., number 21 for the Oklahoma City Dodgers. Man, he looked rough at the beginning of the game. Not like play-wise, but he was like hunched over, holding himself. He clearly looked hungover. He looked hungover than a motherfucker. And he looked sluggish, like he was struggling out there.
Yeah.
So we had close enough seats to the field. Thankfully, you know, shout out to Bobby G's old lady for those amazing seats.
Sorry,
and so I was heckling him a little bit. I was welcoming him to Vegas. I was like, hey man, you know, them bottomless mimosas really don't have a bottom, bro. Like, not out here in Vegas. Like, so I was hassling him all game. To the point where he like looked me off as he like threw the ball to like a different kid instead of in our section. And then at the end of the game, that's why my shout out to Steven Souza Jr., man, he shut me up. Yeah. It was a top of the ninth inning, smacked a home run like 400 feet over the wall, and it was over the wall closest to us. Yeah. Like, so it was like I had to watch it. Yo, shout out to him, man. I don't know if he noticed me heckling him or nothing else, but that's a hell of a way to shut up somebody that's been giving you shit all game. Is to end the game with a fucking home run. Just like, yo. So shout out to number 21, Steven Souza Jr. from the Oklahoma City Dodgers for that. I mean, it didn't matter. Y'all still fucking lost.
Yeah, and shout out to the Aviators. The Aviators
still
won the game.
Yeah, Aviators still won. Inaugural season came to a close with a dub. I'm looking forward to it. I low key like our team. I like our logos and shit. Like, the park is gorgeous.
Yeah, it was for AAA. Yeah,
that's nice.
Clean.
I mean,
it's
Vegas,
not a bad seat in the house.
Yeah, real nice. So I mean, shout out to the Vegas Aviators. Shout out to the old boy from the Dodgers for that home run. Again, we won 11-9, balled out. It was, even though we was up like 8-2 at one point, and I don't know how it became a game. It became like 8-7 at one point. Anyway, shout out to our AAA guys. Thank y'all for tuning in to episode number 10. Finally,
one more shout out.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Just That Money Man. Just That Money Man. I was supposed to shout him out last episode, but
thank you.
New subscriber. New subscriber.
We love
Just That Money Man.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you for watching.
Yeah, hope you tuned in today. Hope that you liked the episode. Again, it is episode 10. I've been trying to get to this episode apparently for like 5 episodes. It feels like finally into double digits. It's the last one of the month of September. Next time we'll hear from us. This time you'll hear from us will be in October. It'll be getting ready for Halloween. Getting ready for. Everybody likes the spooky times and the pumpkins and all that, and decorations and shit.
Yeah.
So
candy. Stop eating candy.
I did see some dude. Some guy had last year during the pandemic for Halloween. He set up like a fish line thing from like his door. It's like his mailbox. Yeah. And put like a ghost on it. And it was like a little basket for kids. Okay. And like when kids would come, he would just like shoot it down, and they could just take it out, and he reeled it back. It was dope.
That's nice.
It was a little clever, cute shit. Anyway, it's been episode number 10 of the Next Man Up Sports Podcast. If you guys enjoyed this, please hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure that your notifications are turned on. That way you get alerts the second that the videos are live.
Absolutely.
If you guys want us to hear anything, please let us know in the comments below. As you can see, we do read them. We do reach out. We do appreciate hearing from you. And again, final time, just a final little walk away with it. Please reach out to those that, you care about. Please make sure you keep in contact with people. A phone call can save a life. It is September. It is a rough month for people. So please just be kind to each other. Love each other. Life is too short as it is, man. We need to care about each other a little bit more.
Absolutely.
My name is Shaka. It's always a pleasure loving y'all. My name is Shaka. This is my guy, Bobby G. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time on Friday. Let's get them out of here.
Peace.